Welcome to the Episode 8 summary of the Ulysses Unlocked podcast, where we analyze Ulysses by James Joyce one page at a time. Hey, if you enjoy this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment to support us. And for a way more detailed analysis, you can always listen to the Ulysses Unlocked podcast, where we really get into the weeds. So today, we're diving into what looks like a super simple breakfast scene to uncover the incredible layers of symbolism, personal history, and even heresy that Joyce is hidden inside.
So, on the surface, this is what's happening. The scene drops us into a Martello Tower right outside Dublin. We've got three young guys, our main man, the artist Stephen Dedalus, the loud, boisterous medical student Buck Mulligan, and their English guest, a guy named Haines. And they're just making a fry-up. It seems totally mundane, totally domestic. Pretty straightforward, right?
Well, come on, this is James Joyce we're talking about. And with Joyce, the surface is never, ever the whole story. This breakfast is absolutely loaded with personal history, with religious symbolism, and even a hidden, super controversial theory that ripples through centuries of history. So let's dig in and peel back those layers.
All right, first things first. Let's talk about the setting. We're in the gloomy, domed living room of this old military tower.
You gotta picture this place. It is not exactly a bright and cheerful morning. The air is just thick with what Joyce calls coal smoke and fumes of fried grease. Ugh. Buck Mulligan is cooking over the hearth, and the smoke is so bad he has to ask his English guest Haines to shove open the heavy door just to get some fresh air. And all the while, our guy, Stephen Dedalus, is just sitting there quietly, waiting.
And then, smack in the middle of all this smoky, greasy chaos, a totally normal, everyday problem pops up. The breakfast is ready, but Mulligan realizes there's no milk for the tea. It's such a small thing. But it's this exact moment and the objects that go with it that trigger something really profound in Stephen.
And just like that, we pivot. We go from this chaotic breakfast scene right into the quiet, super complicated inner world of Stephen Dedalus. And it all kicks off because of the shaving bowl that Mulligan had been using for his mock mass on the roof just a few minutes before. You see, when Stephen holds that bowl, it's like a time machine. It zaps him right back to his childhood at Clongowes School. He remembers being an altar boy, carrying the little boat of incense during Mass. And he sees this unbroken line from that kid to the man he is right now. He feels like he's escaped the Catholic Church, but he realizes, nope, he's still serving someone. And you have to appreciate how precise Stephen's language is here. A server, is an acolyte, an assistant to the priest. And since the priest is a servant of God, that makes the altar boy twice removed. He's a servant of a servant. And this right here, this is Stephen's whole problem in a nutshell. Back then, he served a priest who served God. But now he feels like he's serving Buck Mulligan, who in turn is kind of serving the Englishman Haines, a symbol of the British Empire. Stephen has just swapped one master for another. He's still not free.
But Joyce, being Joyce, doesn't just stop there. He doesn't just tell us about this conflict. He actually weaves this tension between the sacred and the profane right into the language of the scene itself. It's brilliant.
Take the fireplace, for example. It's just a hearth where Mulligan is frying up some eggs. But the way Joyce describes it, he calls it an altar stone. And the beams of light that are cutting through all that smoke, he makes them sound like divine rays in a huge cathedral. The ordinary breakfast is suddenly this grand ritual. And just when you're thinking, wow, this is getting really deep and spiritual, Joyce just pulls the rug out from under you. Bam! He slams you with the profane. Mulligan launches into this dirty joke about an old woman, Mrs. Cahill, warning her friend not to make tea and urinate in the same pot. It is classic Joyce, high-minded philosophy right next to earthy, everyday humor. This is also where Joyce just perfectly captures the sound of how people in Ireland actually talked. He uses what are called minced oaths. So when Mulligan shouts, "Or, Jay, there's no milk," he's dodging the curse. He's swapping out the blasphemous word Jesus for a harmless sound. It's a way to be really expressive, even a little profane, without actually breaking a religious rule. Okay, so we've got Stephen's personal drama, we've got the cultural clash baked into the language, but Joyce buries the deepest, wildest layer of all in a tiny detail you could so easily miss. It comes from the Englishman, Haines. So, right in the middle of them all talking about breakfast and whatnot, Haines just casually mentions that he had a nightmare. He was shouting about it in his sleep, which actually woke Stephen up. It's a small detail, seems totally random. But this is the key. The image that haunted Haines' dream was a Black Panther.
In the story, it just seems like maybe a symbol of some vague primal fear.
A Black Panther? I mean, what could that possibly mean? Seems pretty random, right? Well, with Joyce, you know by now, nothing is ever an accident. This single phrase unlocks a hugely controversial historical debate that goes right to the heart of the religion Stephen is trying to escape.
Okay, get ready for this, because it's a deep cut. That word, panther, is a direct echo of Pantera, which was the name of a real Roman soldier. See, ancient anti-Christian texts, written by people like the philosopher Celsus and even in the Jewish Talmud, claimed that Jesus wasn't the Son of God but was actually the illegitimate son of this Roman soldier. And when the soldier's actual tombstone was discovered in Germany in 1859, this became a hot, controversial topic right around Joyce's time.
So let's just take a step back for a second. We started with a greasy breakfast, and now we're talking about a centuries-old blasphemous rumor hidden inside a nightmare. So, why does any of this matter?
What Joyce does here is just incredible. In one tiny, seemingly unimportant scene, he weaves together the personal, the cultural, and the historical. The crisis happening in Stephen's soul is mirrored in the way his country speaks and in the contested history of his former faith. Every single detail is a rabbit hole.
And this leaves us with some pretty massive questions, doesn't it? Is that Black Panther just a bad dream? Or is Joyce deliberately using this English character to voice a rumor that completely undermines the foundation of the faith that has so deeply shaped and wounded Stephen Dedalus? A faith that was, let's not forget, brought to Ireland by an English missionary. And here's the final question I want to leave you with, the one that really ties it all together. If the very origins of Christianity are tangled up in a story about Roman military power and occupation, how does that change Stephen's feeling of being enslaved? He feels he serves Mulligan, who serves the British Empire. He's haunted by the Catholic Church, a faith whose own origin story might be entangled with a soldier from another empire. It suggests his two masters, church and empire, might be the same thing, just in different costumes. And that is a question worth ponder.